Hello YouTube and welcome to another rolling review. It is time for a long-awaited review. It is from Daigunder, BoneRex. Daigunder is a series similar to Web Diver created by Takara. It came over to America, but the toy line never showed up, never happened, we never got it. It's really interesting. The toys actually feature computer chips inside of them that play video games. However, because of the age, the dexterity of the toys, the games probably don't work anymore. I've tried. I just can't find the batteries to power them. They combine with the main core figure, Daigunder, and as such I already reviewed him. This one, BoneRex, is king of the Jurassic team, or leader of the Jurassic team. He was actually voiced by Paul Schrier, who played Bulk in Power Rangers. Yeah, the guy who played Bulk from Bulk and Skull voiced this guy. Pretty badass, pretty awesome. I actually have a second version of this, the Korean edition, that was autographed signed by him at Power Morphicon 3, but that's neither here or there. The figure is awesome, it's great. Since it's made by Takara, it's made by Transformers, you kind of can tell it's supposed to be a Grimlock-like character immediately. And it just reminds you of Grimlock, since this was during the time that Transformers were not really as popular in Japan or in the States, so they were making their own animes and TV shows to try to still produce toys under that line, or somewhat close to it. Overall, it has nice purples and reds. Kind of reminds me of Lord Zed once you see him fully transformed. It's kind of weird like that. Overall, there is really beautiful chrome plating on him. I think that's one of the best parts about it. And his tail is also his sword in the main form. And the cool part is, they put nice rubbery plastic, so you can actually bend the tail and have it flow about as if it is a real, actual creature's tail. The arms kind of move in and sway, and they actually can close, and the head can close too, I believe, because it also forms his hands. Pretty awesome designs. Pretty great. Overall, the transformation is quite easy. You just have to remove the tail, flip a few parts, and reconnect the joints. And I'm going to do that all off screen because it's a little bit of time consuming. Now, in his robot form, in his actual fighter mode, it's actually pretty awesome. He has a lot of humanistic points of articulation. He has a knee joint, which actually is quite tight of a knee joint, nonetheless. But he has a knee joint, which is on a gear system. He has, along with that hip joint, he has a sword that kind of stays on with a weird ball joint, which plugs into these holes on the handle, the hilt of his sword. It's kind of weird. I don't know why they were built like this, because they kind of tend to fall off, and it tends to just not really stay in the figure's hands. The figures kind of remind a lot of people of Beast Wars Cheetor Transmetal, because they are nothing more than just the head of his animal form. They hold, the weapon. They can actually combine together to shoot fire in the show. His chest is really Jurassic-like, really sublime-like. The reason why I said it kind of reminds me of Lord Zed is just because of how red he is, with all the silver added onto him. Gives that little skeletal structure. His head's pretty damn decent, but overall, it's not as cool as it was in the show. It has some basic, lines and scaling into a skeletal system to make him look all like a dinosaur. He really looks awesome nonetheless, because his mouth, his whole body, he's supposed to be a Jurassic Knight. Really goes with the whole motif and with the show for Daigunder. When combining him, though, with the huge robo that is Daigunder, he actually splits apart, because his lower torso and his sword become the weapon, and his upper torso becomes the cod piece to become Battlerex or whatever. BoneRex's true form, with Daigunder, the king of the Jurassic Age, I forget. But it's a really cool combination. I actually like it a lot more than Daigulion. I think it's Daigarex, I think. But nonetheless, when transforming it, it is kind of a pain in the arse, just because of how the system connects in. You have to actually pull off the back here to remove the spot, just to get his upper torso off. And then you transform the pieces properly so that he can be the sword. And to transform the sword into its right form, you just fold over the back piece and you switch the legs around so that they'll fold into each other and onto the sword itself when plugging it in. Once actually rearranging the feet and the legs and plugging in the sword, it actually becomes this nice, awesome bladed weapon that he used in the show. It clips onto his arm rather than being actually held by the character, but nevertheless, it's really awesome, really cool, and I like it. Now, for the actual BoneRex combination, it's actually interesting. What you have to do is flip the arms completely about face and twist and turn the arms inwards towards the torso, so that he has like this weird chest panel to look exactly like this rather than his original form, where he'll be now like Daigunder to plug into Daigunder and replace Ryugu. Finally, once combining BoneRex with Ryugu or Daigu, I always get them confused, to become Daigarex. Daigarex is probably BoneRex's strongest form because he's now combined with the Daigunder system. He is now the main piece. He is now the main system. His head goes in as like shoulder guards, and his top part, his little spiked blade comes out, forming his crown. His sword is huge and hefty. It does make the character a little bit off-centered because the weight is now shifted to the right. The gimmick system of how the arms are is also weighted. It does put a lot of weight on the arm itself, not just the figure, and is a little bit too bulky. Overall, though, it's a great collector's piece to have, great to own. I really like it because I was able to get a lot of my Daigunder figures and parts for cheap off of middlemen and such. I probably only spent a good third of what I should have spent for all of my figures thus far reviewed, as in Daigunder, Bullion, Drymog, Eagle Arrow, and BoneRex himself. The gaming system, I'm still trying to figure out how to play it, or I should say, how I'll get it to work, since it does use a lot of older batteries that I'm not really capable of finding at this moment, and I don't want to order specially just to do a one-time game through and let's play. However, I think it's really great. It's really nice. It really holds to the character from the show, and it does have a little bit of differences just because of how the main weapon is held via the forearm rather than the actual hand. It's a shame I can't really find D-Sera or Dry-Sera, I can't remember his name, and D-Spectre. It's weird I can't find them at this time. It's hard to find them. I've had trouble finding them, especially finding Ginzon, the unicorn Pegasus monster that was villain then turned ally. Overall, yeah, it's awesome. I hope people can get this if they're really looking forward to owning a Daigunder collection in their possible futures. I'd always say just check out your middlemen like Rider Proxy, because it will be hard to find them now in a local market or thrift shops, especially if you're in Asia. I know that people still can find some because of their Korean release, which is exactly the same, nothing removed from them. As for now, this has been Wheelchair 21. This is an awesome figure. It's great to have, but hard to find. You can find me here on YouTube and Twitter. My Instagram is Taja_Doyle. Always check out HeroTaku.com, and check out the wonderful podcast on Raijo Nihon, such as Morphin Bracers, Anisatsu Podcast, WRW, Toku Anime News, Unichronicles, Ultracast, Otaku Roulette, and many more. And we'll see you next time.